We're live from WSJU Radio, St. John's University in Queens, New York. And how does it feel to be back home on the airwaves because you're from New York, the one and only Leon Thomas?
Exactly. What's up, y'all? What's up? What's up?
Not much, man. Welcome to the show. Yeah, you're from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I know you're working on a lot of things right now. I saw you in the studio. You're working on a lot of music. You got a lot going on.
Yeah, definitely. Lots of music, lots of auditions and great meetings. I'm building a lot of my companies out right now too, man. So it's just a great time to be alive, and I'm working really hard. Yeah.
Good for you. I know you are, and we can get into the whole backstory. Your mother was a singer. She taught Black history. Your stepfather played guitar for B.B. King, High Five, legendary R&B group. So you
know what's up.
Yeah, I know what's up. Oh, man. But you've had your foot into the door of this industry at a young age. You started out Nickelodeon at the age of 13, but what's something that you learned from your family members to attack a position and get into this industry and just succeed and thrive in your own way?
Well, I think it really all starts with my grandfather. You know, he was an opera singer and did some Broadway plays himself. So, you know, coming up, I just always had him as, you know, a mentor and somebody to look up to. And he definitely had a lot of friends in the musical theater world who definitely opened the door for me to do plays like Carolina Change and Color Purple when I was younger. And Broadway, you know, the theater background definitely taught me a work ethic that carried on into film and television, and the rest kind of became history.
How did it feel to be on the stage of Broadway? Because that's huge for any performer, especially The Lion King. That's a huge play.
You know, I was so young, and I think, you know, a lot of it was adrenaline and just genuinely like wanting to have a good time, and, you know, going to set and, you know, going backstage and working in an environment like that for me was like a playground. You know, it was like fun. So you know, around that time, I don't think any of the pressures are really set in. It was just really all about like going and showing up and doing my best work every night.
Mm-hmm. Now, from there, from your experience at Broadway, how did you get on that path and get that connection to Nickelodeon?
At that time, I booked a children's show called The Backyardigans, where I was playing the Orange Moose, Tyrone. And from there, like a lot of different executives, it kind of just, you know, heard about the stuff that I was doing on the film side of things. I did a movie called August Rush.
With Robin Williams.
Yeah, so that kind of like sparked this interest with the network, and they decided to sign me to a development deal, which gave me a record deal with Columbia Records at 13, and they were developing some shows with me in mind. And around 16 years old was when all of that kind of started kicking into play with shows like iCarly and Victorious, and from there, you know, I just kind of was able to really build an amazing relationship with the network, and we worked on an array of different projects. It was really cool.
Yeah. What was an important conversation that you had with Robin Williams off screen?
You know, he kind of taught me improv at that time. We had a scene that actually got cut out of the film, but it was us kind of going back and forth in an argument.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't it one he was supposed to slap you or something?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I took it out because in the test, everybody was like, you know, it made the audience members hate his character, so they had to take the scene out. But behind the scenes, he was just telling me like it was kind of like the Yo Mama jokes, and we had to play Yo Mama for a couple of rounds, and that was kind of cool, you know, playing with the improv legend. And I was just pulling out old jokes from the recess yard at this point. Yeah. It definitely it was definitely a shaping moment that taught me to always have a couple extra improv lines in my pocket when I have scenes that have a comedic edge. Mm-hmm. And I carried that to every show that I did. Mm-hmm. After that.
It's such a shame what happened to him and his story in his life, because you got to hold that moment to yourself closely, because Robin Williams he's a legend. He's a legend in the game, and it's just such a shame, and feeling the pressure of whatever he was going on in life, and plus Hollywood. Was there ever a time in Hollywood, because you hear the stories about these actors that go through depression and all these stories that you hear about these actors and actresses go through. Have you ever gone through that? If you feel safe enough, or
I can't say I really went through a real depression, but I think it's definitely real for human emotions to kind of come into play with all of the yeses and nos. I mean, you're dealing with so much anticipation, and for me, I work in 3 different industries,
Yeah.
from on the production stuff
Yeah.
to then, doing a lot of the acting stuff and even the
And
artist stuff,
singing.
like field, so it's definitely a lot of different hats you got to wear. But I think for me, having my connection with God and genuinely like always having a good connection with family has always helped just battle through any doubts I ever had.
If that's good that you don't have a story like that, and you've had a great experience, because you hear those stories about those actors, they turn to drugs, they've had a difficult time, and then these talented actors out here, they never get back on track like they used to be.
Exactly. Because I think it's such an emotionally taxing gig, and I think a lot of people get tied into the anxieties from it that are kind of you really can't escape them. So I mean, it's just
Yeah.
you have a process to deal with that, or like you got to figure something else out. So
Yeah.
for me, I found my process, and like everyone, I always go through my moments, but I think it's important to shout out the support system I have around me that's definitely just like always shower me with love, no
How
matter
crazy
what time.
was it? Oh, continue.
No matter what time period, no matter what's happening in my career, just having that like foundational aspect has been like a really, really, really strong part to everything.
Yeah, that foundation gets you through everything in life. But
Yeah.
how crazy was it for you to be on iCarly and Victorious? Because all the people in the comments were like, "Oh, you're interviewing Andre from Victorious." How crazy was it of an experience for you to be so young and basically a superstar?
It was a crazy experience, from the Happy Meals to like being on cereal boxes to just the toys and the plates and it's just like the cultural aspect of it. I've never genuinely been a part of anything that's had that much of an impact, and it's been such a beautiful thing to kind of see our fans grow up over the years. And it's also great to be able to collaborate with a lot of my castmates, like Ariana. We worked on her last
Yeah.
album together.
You produced 5 songs on her first album.
Yeah. So I mean, it's been a crazy ride, but you just figure it out in the end.
It's it's interesting because I heard the stories of you
Figure it
two.
out in the end. It's really like it's a wild thing to even speak about. Most of my days are definitely dealing with different things these days, but it's like cool always looking back at it because it's a wild ride.
Yeah,
It's nothing like
and
it.
I could say it's been a wild ride for you. You've been in every industry, every avenue, but just hearing the stories of you about you and Ariana Grande speaking what you wanted in life in the future, just because you were superstars on the show and you wanted to achieve another level that a lot of people don't, and which you spoke that into existence, which is crazy because no one would have known now that you would have been winning a Grammy at 21 and she would have been as big as she is. Who knows?
Right. I mean, it's a true blessing, but I'm a true believer in the power of manifestation and saying what you believe in, and just really painting the world that you want to live in. So I think that time period was such an honest moment in both of our artistic careers, and it's been really great to see in the growth of it all. And I'm super proud of everybody in the cast. Even Elizabeth Gillies has been
Mm-hmm.
killing it on all the shows that she's been doing and with Dynasty and everything else. So, I'm just always like super excited about the friends that I can truly say that I'm a fan of as well. Because over time you really get to meet these people that you were like the first fans of, and then to see the rest of the world show as much love as you did in that beginning stage is always like a really cool thing to watch.
Oh, trust me, it's crazy, man. I used to watch all those Nickelodeon shows, and it's just like that song by Ahmad, "Back in the Days." It makes you want to go back in the day.
Exactly, back in the days.
Yeah. And just live life, because I know they put iCarly back on Netflix, and I'm just like, oh no, I'm not going to be going here. And oh man, I'll be regretting a lot.
Yeah,
I'll
man,
be regretting a lot, wishing I
put
was
my
back
whole
as a kid.
episode up there. I could hear my little New York accent, peeking out of the character at that time. I was on my feet wet, and it was like my first time doing a multi-cam show. You could really tell, and it was really like it was wild. Even looking back at me playing guitar and singing that song, it definitely it's always been in my destiny to be in this music space and to continue just write and believe in myself. So it's just great seeing the genesis of it all,
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And your family has to be so proud of what you accomplished in life. And before we get into your connections with Babyface, the R&B legend, the 10-year anniversary, which was through Zoom, unfortunately, due to this pandemic, which is just insane. And rest in peace to all the people who passed away due to the pandemic out there, and people are going through the struggle because a lot of people are going through a difficult time right now. But the 10-year anniversary of Victoria is through Zoom. How was that?
That was wild. Just kind of seeing everybody and even just the conversational patterns, like we just clicked right back into 10 years ago. And that's really something cool to watch. I mean, I'm pretty young, so I don't have a lot of 10-year anniversaries coming up right now. So, to have to have a 10-year anniversary was like a weird kind of moment. But it was definitely honestly amazing to see everybody and to just chop it up again. Because I mean, those were and are some of my only friends in LA. So it's just really cool, like that we've been able to keep the vibes going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You got any future work coming out with Ariana Grande still?
We haven't worked in a while, just due to the pandemic and everybody kind of being in separate places. But I'm definitely down to work on some more music with her, and I've been kind of wrapped up, finishing my project and also working with Drake right now on his new project, and a bunch of different artists, Giveon, and it's like a really 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 great season for R&B. So I'm just getting all of my foundational aspects together business wise, and I'm excited to put some stuff out pretty soon.
That's crazy. Working with Drake, that's the ultimate GOAT. I remember you previewing some songs and they sounded good because you dropped 4 songs a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah,
on Instagram.
Yeah. Amazing, man. Yeah.
You got a lot of work coming. What's it like working with Drake?
Working with Drake is definitely like an amazing experience because I think just the machine work of how a lot of the production works with sending a lot of stuff around and collaborating a lot. Like I'm collaborating with more producers than I ever really have before, which is amazing. And everybody's at the top of their game. And I think there's really just like this aspect of just definitely trying to have the hottest joint. So I've been just working really hard to put my best foot forward, and he's just been really really amazing at just giving us the right direction towards what he wants, and I'm excited. I know people are definitely gonna love the music, and the stuff that we've recorded so far is phenomenal. So I'm just hyped, man. I'm hyped, and
yeah, I know you are. Grammy nominated for Gold Roses, and the beat is just that beat's insane. It knocks too.
It's a vibe. It's a vibe.
Yeah, that's fire. Yeah. That's the Drake that we need. Please, I would love to have that Drake more and more often. I think we're gonna get some of that because that's just who he is. But Babyface through Columbia Records. Tell me about the first time meeting Babyface, and actually after that, did you ever perform live for him in person?
Oh yeah. I mean, well, we met originally through Columbia Records. They set us up to do a session for, my upcoming project at the time. And we did a cool song, and he introduced me to some of his younger producers. And one of his younger producers ended up being my production partner, Chris Riddick Hines. And, from that point forward, I was just always in his universe musically. I was always over at his studio, just kind of vibing. And, I had plenty of opportunities to play him the songs that I was writing at home. And he was just such an amazing mentor-like figure to everybody who was growing up at that studio at that time, like Taylor Parks. And, there's just a lot of R&B great producers and writers that came out of that space, like the Underdogs as well. So, it definitely felt like boot camp. It felt like, I was really getting ready and preparing for something great. And after years of work of genuinely learning his process, I can say that, I walked away with some true gems.
That's a legend in the game. When can I see you again? Whip Appeal, Simple Days. You go on and on and on about the Babyface records.
Yeah.
Do you think the youth is educated on the legends of R&B? Because you look at these young artists out here, or even people that I've had on my show, independent artists, or even the listeners, do you think they're well educated on that? And do the parents and the people who run these radio stations right now do a great job of making sure that the kids know who the legends are, such as Babyface and etc.?
Well, I think it's kind of hard to bridge the gap past a certain year. But I know for a fact that Spotify and Apple Music's, ability to just pull up any record at any time is definitely giving people all of the access they need to really dig through those records. It's just, the question is, are they doing that? And who knows? I mean, I feel like there's certain subcultures like the hipsters of the world that know every R&B record and every old school joint. But I can say right now that I'm seeing more and more artists come into the studio and not necessarily know like a Whitney Houston song by heart or a Michael song by heart, and it's something that would definitely surprise me. At first I was like, man, am I getting a little older in the game? What's going on? But I realized it's just a generational gap. And like you said, like the programming is kind of tough to kind of,
it's terrible. I'll say it.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Earth, Wind, and Fire, you know what I mean? Like it's just a different vibe. So I think, people are going to have to, if they want to dig into that vintage bag, get on Spotify and start, learning about some of the artists you've been hearing about.
The people want to turn on all these new R&B singers and Tory Lanez, you name it, but Charlie Wilson blows them out of the water.
Right, Gap Band's got it.
Yep. The Gap Band guy, Teddy Riley. Have you had a chance to work with Teddy Riley?
You know what? A long time ago, when I was 16, I dated his daughter. And
oh wow!
I played on a joint that he was producing for Michael at the time, just because we all were kind of hanging out at that time. And I never got a chance to work with him personally as a producer, but just even that one day, kind of hearing some unreleased Mike stuff was like such an amazing experience. Yeah.
That's crazy that you even had an experience with Teddy Riley. That's a legend in the game. They need to make a new Guy album. Aaron Hall.
Yeah, Aaron Hall. Yeah, I went to see Guy live around that time too, which is really cool to see the fellas still doing it. Still locking it in.
What's your favorite song from Guy?
I think it's
Let's Chill.
Yeah, I think it'd probably be Chill. Let me see.
Teddy's Jam, Piece of My Love.
Yeah, Piece of My Love. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to get the right one. Because they had another one that I really liked too. So
something that was fire too back in the day. It was similar, kind of similar to Teddy Riley. Let's Chill. Yeah.
What?
Something that was similar to Teddy Riley was Roger Troutman. He was fire.
Oh yeah.
He put the air hose in there and start doing it on the keyboard. That's crazy. Yeah. We need the G-Funk era back. Have you ever thought about producing some G-Funk?
Oh, for sure. But when it comes to the vocoder, I never really quite got the hang of it. It's definitely not something I'm amazing at right now. So I'm still trying to get right on it. But I think that style of funk it should definitely come back at some point. For sure.
That would be fire. I think exposing it to the new generation.
Roger, like that whole like moment was amazing.
That whole the 90s is just timeless, and
it truly is.
I think the 90s is the golden era, not only just for R&B but hip hop too. I mean, the Biggie documentary came out the other day.
The Biggie documentary came out and he really killed it. I don't know who directed that, but I just love the flow of it. All of the interviews were really seamless, and everybody was pulling into their stories and really giving us what we needed. Because like sometimes those documentaries seem a little bit too transactional. Like I like when it's a little bit more personal.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I do. And he was ready to really take off. He wanted to get into acting. He wanted to get into other avenues. Yeah. He could have done it. He was already on Martin.
Yeah, he was on Martin. I love that episode, actually.
Yeah.
We watched that like probably a couple months ago.
That was fire. That's fire. No one would ever thought that unless they watched that documentary or just watched Martin, of course.
Yeah.
But being in this industry, not only as an actor, producer, and singer, do you believe in this? Because I kind of do believe in what I'm about to ask you. Once you achieve something in one area of the industry, you can basically prove yourself that you can achieve yourself in other fields of the industry. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, I would definitely say that's true, and that's like a part of my career that's been pretty evident that I can kind of jump from different fields and kind of just make it work. I feel like there's a lot of determination behind that and a lot of lessons learned. I felt like every job I got was just a new opportunity to pick up a new skill, and that's exactly what it became, just an opportunity to just be better as a creative. And I feel like now, even that I've been behind the scenes on the production end, it just gives me a new appreciation as an artist when I'm dealing with producers and vice versa.
Yeah.
There's like this exchange of information from like going from behind the scenes to in front of the camera that I think is very important. Like even as a creative, because you start thinking about the business aspects completely differently after that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How do you feel about auto-tune in R&B as someone that can actually sing, doesn't need the auto-tune to make a name for himself?
I think our ears are trained to it now, so it's kind of hard for the modern day ear to even hear like a true pitch because it's so rare right now. So I think a lot of people who are trying to like trailblaze in the world of maybe just using a little bit of Melodyne or no auto tune at all, tend to sound pitchy to the average ear just because they're so used to such a heavy amount of the auto tune that we've been having on all the other records.
Yeah.
So I think it's great to have balance. I think, you know, genuinely look into what your peers are trying to do and don't be too anti auto tune. I think there's ways to embrace it in a natural way and just kind of figure it out from there. Because I feel like a lot of people want to be like anti auto tune, but sometimes, homie, you need it. You know what I mean? Or like, oh, you probably could use a little.
Oh man.
Just a little like touch. You know what I'm saying? So it's good to have balance over everything else.
Something that, I mean, I get the auto-tune part in R&B, people need it to sing, but rapping, you don't need auto-tune. You need to rap. Like all these rappers out here, they're like singing rappers. Like Nelly back in the day didn't need auto-tune.
Exactly, but the style of it all, like I'm just kind of the more and more I kind of work with different artists and really see the process behind the scenes. It's a style of rapping now that almost requires the auto tune so they can tap into melodies they normally couldn't sing if they didn't have it. It's almost like a instrument in itself, and that's what a lot of R&B artists use auto tune for, almost as an extra part to their instrument.
Mhm.
So I mean, I'll give the melodic rappers that it's now turned into its own art form, if you ask me, like how they're putting the records together. A lot of it's off the dome, a lot of it's bars at a time, and I think it's definitely turned into its own thing.
Mhm. Being based in Queens right now, I think New York should have a standard. I'm one of those guys that's like, oh, here we go with the mumble rap. If you're tuned into someone by the name of Conway the Machine, have you heard of him?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's got
Oh
some
yeah.
fire.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
that real New York
I've been into
rap.
the whole Griselda like
Yep.
world, just like vibing out, really tapping into all the Alchemist stuff that he's been doing with Freddie Gibbs.
Yeah.
And just like that sound is amazing. And I'm such a fan of a lot of those guys, and it's just great seeing them, get their flowers right now too. And I feel like people are really embracing it. So
And that's the
I'm
balance, because I speak about balance on my show. That's bring these guys up too. We'll let them win.
Yeah, let them win. But I mean, I think it's all about the creative as well. We live in a visual market, so it's great seeing them really tap into that, and the visuals are so clean. So I just know they're scratching the surface of something really beautiful right now. So I've been watching as a native New Yorker, like
Yeah.
just super proud of the sound, like breaking through the glass ceiling. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're doing that. But is Griselda someone that you would potentially want to work with, being from New York?
I love Griselda. That's definitely like a dope feature that I would love to put together. And I'm working on everything right now. We're wrapping everything up, so it's just like cool getting in this creative bag and working with a bunch of different artists, but taking the time to focus on me too.
Do you think the youth understands that sound of boom bap? Because I've often had times with people like DJ K-Slay where they say that they just don't understand it. They feel as though they don't want to listen to music that's educational because everyone wants to party all the time. Do you understand that the youth really understand what even hip hop is? Because hip hop is supposed to talk about where what struggles you went through in life, the life that you lived growing up, do you feel as though that people actually understand the meaning of hip hop?
I don't think they know the true meaning of hip hop, but I think there's because it's become so embedded in our culture. I think over time, it's just everything works in cycles anyway, and over time, I think there's going to be more of an embrace of that sound that built the Fugees, that built
Yeah.
Tribe Called Quest, that built De La Soul, like that sound. It's gonna have its time again, but everything works in cycles. So I think right now we're in this very like kind of gangster rap cycle almost. So you really think about
Yeah.
everything that's popping off, and then you think about like a lot of the female driven rap that's kind of popping off. That's amazing. So I know that it's gonna take time, but I'm super excited that we're seeing Griselda and Conway and them like
Yeah.
break through with these records, because it's definitely giving me hope that maybe the clock is going to speed up a little faster than I thought. So
Yeah.
for me, that's definitely like a staple to even like how I do a lot of my R&B. I like to kind of dig into those old Jay Dilla samples and stuff like
Mhm.
that to kind of bring that element to my style of R&B. So that would be amazing for
Mhm.
me if that all came back together for sure.
Being a producer in the game, who's a producer that you would want to work with that you haven't yet? Because you've worked with Kanye. I know you've had some experience with others, but or even people like Primo, with someone you want to work with?
Yeah, sending stuff in, but I would still love to actually work in the room with Kanye. That would be
Kanye.
amazing. But it also Pharrell, man.
Yeah.
Pharrell's like I think the number one right now that I know I could just really soak up a lot of game from. I mean, working with artists and producers that I really admire like that. Like I even got a chance to work with Timbaland as well.
Mhm.
Like
That's a
those are
legend.
opportunities to just like soak up so much game. I try to ask as many questions and listen as much as possible, because there's stuff that I can walk out of those sessions with that who knows, could change my life forever. So I really just like I see the win and the wisdom even outside of just the record. It's about some of those conversations that really help me move forward.
From watching your career thrive, what do you believe was the most important question that you asked one of those producers that you met and sat in the room with, and which producer was it?
I think one of the best producer conversations I had, um, randomly enough, it just came back into my brain a couple of days ago, but it was with Brian Michael Cox,
Mhm.
and he was talking about the art of staying inspired and overdoing the creative process to the point where at a certain point you feel tapped out. And I think that conversation really hit home for me, because I was like, I was working so much. I
Mhm.
think it just taught me to take more vacations when I can and live more life so that the music stays fresh and I stay inspired, and I stay, itching to get to a really great studio, rather than like just feeling like complacent with, an SSL board. Like I still want to be excited that I got an
Yeah.
engineer in the room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think over time I've like learned little ways to do that for myself, and really schedule out those personal days so it doesn't become a monotonous, thing.
What can we expect next from after Genesis?
I got a project. I've been working with my girlfriend. We're looking
Yeah.
to release some music as well. We got some really great records. And then also I'm working on a bunch of different artists right now that they'll be dropping records this year. So I mean, it's crazy working, working on all the projects that we mentioned before. And I know there's definitely a lot that's going to come up.
Oh yeah, I know there is. And what's the title Genesis mean to you? Is it that it's just the beginning for you?
It, it was the beginning for me, and a lot of this stuff felt like destiny. A lot of my life felt like I was just rolling from one opportunity into the other. And then this person brought me to the next, journey.
Yeah.
It's always felt like this like storybook kind of thing. And Genesis to me, is one of the best books of all time. And I felt like that was just a great title to kind of showcase this is the beginning of something that I know is going to be a series of books.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be. What did it mean to you win a Grammy, Love, Marriage, and Divorce, the age of 21?
Man, and we had an opportunity to go to the award ceremony, and my production partner and I, we were like, we're not sure if we're gonna win. Like, no, maybe we should just like stay home and like look at this opportunity as a great to be nominated is amazing. So it's like, it's beautiful, and then we'll just see where it goes. I randomly get a call, you know, and it's all over online. People are tweeting me, texting me, calling me out of nowhere. I'm like, what? It's crazy, man. It felt like I like won the lotto. You know what I mean? You don't get an extra check for winning the Grammy, but it was like, it felt like I was like, yeah, definitely felt super huge. And it was definitely one of those moments for me. Like, you know, I told you I'm really big into manifestation and stuff like that. And one of my tricks was if I really wanted something, I would put it on a lock screen of my phone. So every time I check, you know, the time, or if somebody called or whatever, I would see that thing. And I had a Grammy on my phone for like a year straight, just, you know. And then I decided that one day I was like, yeah, let me just take it off. Like, maybe I'm like, this is kind of getting weird. Let me take it off. Let me do something else. And then a couple weeks later, it popped off, you know,
and it happened.
Nomination, and then the win. Yeah.
And the winning. But the thing I think that cements your legacy with this Grammy Award is that it's with two legends, Babyface and Toni Braxton. This isn't some no-name we're talking about here. This is a legendary duo.
Ooh, legendary duo. And, you know, working around them at that time was just so amazing because, you know, I always felt like I was walking on eggshells. I always wanted to make sure things were cool and, you know, not overstay my welcome. But we were really able to build a rapport with Toni Braxton. That was amazing, and she was really nice. And of course, Face was a mentor. So, you know, just even, you know, having a figure like that to look up to around that time was just really, really, really amazing for me. You know, walking into the studio and seeing the Bentley and like all the plaques and everything, it just like just showed me like there's really something great that I'm working for. You know, and at some point I was really going to be able to like properly hold everything down. You know what I'm saying? Because it was showing me there was an end to this whole goal.
Yeah, and Babyface is a hit maker, great songwriter. When did you realize that you had a gift at songwriting?
You know, when I had to audition for August Rush, I was still doing the play Color Purple, and
that was produced by Oprah Winfrey.
Oprah Winfrey, yeah. So backstage, you know, I had a lot of time. Like, I was only really in like a couple scenes of the play. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I would go like chill for like an hour and a half, come through, do my thing, and then go back and do homework or whatever else. And one of the extra things I added into the mix, you know, my dad's a guitarist, so he had some extra acoustic guitars hanging around. And I would bring it backstage and just kind of mess around. And the next thing I knew, I was writing songs with the 2 or 3 chords I knew. And from that point forward, you know, I would just perform for everybody backstage, and they were just so supportive of my like 3-chord song, you know, that I was like, all right, maybe, you know, maybe I can write a hit one day. Who knows? Like, maybe I can write some songs. And it was crazy. Like, over the years, I've actually been able to hit that goal. And we had a studio at the house too. So my stepdad would always be there, you know, working on records. And I saw his process of, you know, having the mic right there and playing the instruments and then recording his song. And it definitely inspired how I move forward with my production process.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you're someone that likes to work in the studio with artists. And despite COVID-19, how has that changed that? And what are some of the ways that this pandemic has made you adapt to the times and change life for the better?
Well, it's opened up a whole new form of creation, I would say. You know, for me, we work on a lot of melody sample ideas that rather than sampling like an old school song, you know, you just sample us and cut us into the production. And there's this really cool creative process of like starting an idea in one tempo and sending it to a friend, and then he sends it back in a completely different key, different tempo, these new hip hop drums. And it's like, it's just it's the reimagination of the idea in itself that I think is really breeding like this like cool style of hip hop that I've been working on. So you know, during quarantine, I feel like I've been able to collaborate with people all over the world, from London, Germany, you know, New York, Atlanta, and people sending stuff to my phone every day, and I'm sending stuff back, and you know, I got my little setup, and I'm always working. And you know, with that being said, I want to say I've been more creative outside the studios because of just the amount of stuff that I'm kind of able to have my hands on. simultaneously than when I was in the studios, kind of running around trying to get
Yeah.
each record, cut by each artist.
And that's great that you found a way to adapt to the times, because who knows when we're going to get back to normal, if people are not going to wear their masks and they're going to act like a bunch of jackasses.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you about that, but when it comes to music, I know that creativity is always going to find its way to survive, and I'm just really loving the new aspects that are kind of coming from the quarantine culture and coming from just the music that's coming from that. It's really beautiful to be a part of, and to help contribute to. So I mean, we'll see what comes out next, man. But I'm super excited about all the new stuff that you guys haven't heard yet, because we got some songs on the way for sure.
Oh, I know you do. What's an album that's R&B from the 90s or early 2000s that just amazes you every time you listen to that production?
The score. Fuji's The Score is like probably one of my favorites, just because working with Jerry One back in the day when I was like 17, 18 years old, I was able to see his process, and it opened my eyes for the rest of my career. And I went back into all of his old albums that he was producing on, and re-listened to it after that as well. And that was definitely an impactful one. Wyclef Jean is like such an amazing producer, and like the way he like marries his mixes and his sounds is just really beautiful, man. So I mean, that's probably one of my favorites. Lauryn Hill, of course. Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's the GOAT.
Yeah.
Oh, these female R&B artists, they have nothing on Lauryn Hill. Please, The Miseducation, one of the greatest of all time.
Oh, greatest, yeah.
Oh yeah, I read somewhere that you wanted to start your own record label in the future.
Yeah.
How's that going?
Yeah. I'm really, really good, actually. I mean, it's like cool. Once again, like because I've been through so many different facets of the entertainment industry, I think right now building the machine work, the right executives to partner up with, and just the web that I need in order to really like push these records out properly, especially during this quarantine culture. Yeah. I think finding that machine has been an amazing process, and I'm excited about the music that's going to come out of it, because I just feel like working for a structure that I co-own and that I'm a great partner in is a different mentality than if I'm working for So it's we'll see where it goes, but I'm super excited about the team that we put together and the music that's on the way. So yeah.
Any upcoming films that we can expect you in, shows? We can go through the whole discography of films or filmography of films that you have. And Detroit was important. That's an important film to discuss the Detroit riots, and it speaks a lot about things that we're still going through society. As you saw on the news earlier today, the officer George Floyd is looking like he's going to walk, and it's disgraceful.
It's definitely disgraceful, and this is it's a very important time in our history. I feel like this is a great opportunity for the justice system to show that there's great change on the way. We'll see where it goes, but being a part of a film like Detroit gave me so much perspective at a very important age in my life, and it fed me with so much information that I thought I already knew, but just really combing over exactly what was happening, in the civil rights, movement up until today in great detail, but was such an epic moment for us. I mean, I think all of us doing the media training for that, we had to go through an extensive process of like really doing our homework, and once you learn each and every disgusting detail, it can get you pretty mad, but in my spirit, I always try to find the silver lining, and I know for a fact that having great bosses and great executives and great trailblazers who put together philanthropic projects like Jay-Z has done is the goal, and I feel like that's the key right now to find more leaders and to be the leader that I'm trying to find. So it's a hustle every day, but it's films like Detroit that definitely put me on that mindset. And I also did a theater rendition of one night in Miami that kind of had me in the same mind space and genuinely combing over the history and knowing each detail properly. That's definitely fueling a lot of the moves that I'm making today.
Mm-hmm. Where did your mother teach? Oh, well, before we get into your mother, the films that you have coming up that we could potentially see you in.
Right now, I'm not really working in the acting space as much. I've been, kind of talking with a couple different producers about, stepping back into the film space and television space. There's a couple shows happening right now during pilot season, stuff like that. But, I know for a fact that that's definitely, in my future. It's been a part of my entire life. So I know there's definitely more on the way.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about your mother. Where did your mother teach Black history?
So yeah, I don't know where you got that fact, my man. But she she used to do a Black history seminar at public schools all over New York, PS10, PS295, a bunch of different schools in the Brooklyn area. And yeah, she would do like a seminar every Black History Month, but past that, there was it was only for the month of February.
But, just the month of February. Okay.
Yeah, month of February.
Yeah, because I read online, they made it sound as though that.
Yeah, they come home all the time. So what school exactly did you? No, yeah, there's been a lot of different schools that she would do assemblies for, and that was like some of my earliest times ever getting to perform for large crowds, and yeah, man, I definitely learned a lot.
Yeah, and that's important. I saw Victoria Justice has released some music. Are you working with her at all in the future or potentially?
Yeah, I'm definitely down to work with Vic for sure. I'm in the process of building a studio right now.
How's that going?
Pretty cool, man. It's like it takes time, so it's like just being patient with it. But yeah, man, I'm definitely excited to have her stop through and a bunch of different people stop through and continue to create and build these records out for them for sure.
You're located in LA right now?
Yeah,
you're in LA. You gotta get Kendrick to stop through.
Oh yeah, for real. Definitely gotta work. I mean, I think he has a studio that he's mostly working out of, so I would have to find his spot. But I know for sure that would be amazing to work with Kendrick, on some stuff. We've done some work, so I mean we'll see what ends up coming.
Yeah. Or even the game, as he said, he's the best rapper in LA, which I kind of believe. The game's been underrated since the documentary.
Oh man, he's really dope. He's dope for sure. I'll definitely, listen to a lot of his music coming up. Yeah.
He's got some fire. Trust me, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, man. For real.
We got to get into the sports talk. Being from New York, are you a New York sports fan?
I used to get disappointed back in the day, rooting for the Knicks. So
oh yeah, it's rough. I'm a Knicks fan. You saw on the flyer.
Yeah. Yo, bro, I used to go to the games, and every game I would go to, like somehow they would lose. But seeing what they've done with the Brooklyn Nets is amazing, and I still gotta go by the stadium when everything's back up and running and everything's cool with COVID. Like that would be amazing to see a game in there for sure, because they got Harden over there now. Kyrie goes
Blake Griffin.
Blake Griffin's on the way. I just heard that last night at the All-Star game. They were talking about that. So yeah, man, it's gonna be a vibe.
Oh, please! I can't stand Brooklyn as a true New York Knicks fan, and Obi Toppin got.
True New York Knicks fan. Yeah. I'm sure you're like, oh man, bro.
Yeah, but we know why.
Yeah, man.
But we know why the Knicks aren't good, and it's because of James Dolan. Oh man, and Obi Toppin got robbed last night at the dunk contest.
Oh, you think so?
I think so. He dunked over Julius Randle and his father.
Like it was cool. It's cool. What's up?
I think he got robbed. Obi Toppin dunking over his father and Julius Randle. That's crazy.
That was pretty nuts, man. Yeah. The game was pretty cool too. I like seeing just all the movement. They were really out there shooting some crazy trick shots, like all the half-court stuff with Steph and Lillard. Yeah, man, it was nuts.
How about for football? Are you a football fan?
And I'm not really that big into football. I mean, I spend most of my days in studio, so I miss the game by the time it comes on. And sometimes we would have the game on, but I would never actually get to watch the game because I'm playing a million instruments. But when it comes to football, I definitely grew up going to Jets games. My dad was a huge Jets fan, So we out there cold as hell, just vibing out. But
Yeah, good. You're on my good side. You grew up a Knicks fan. You went to Jet games. I'm a Jet fan,
hey,
unfortunately.
man, I'm just spilling my truth. You know,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
How about for baseball? Did you go to Mets games?
I did actually, the first and well, actually, the first time I should say the first time I ever threw the first pitch was at a Mets game.
Wow.
It was actually kind of cool, man.
Yeah.
We went over there. Yeah, it was fun, dog. It was definitely a surreal moment, because you like see that on TV, and then to actually have that, all of that attention, it's like, all right, I get why you guys are out here, getting paid the big bucks. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. What year was this, if you can remember the Mets game? Because if it was in 2015, that year would have been nuts.
I think it was. I do not remember. I think it was like 20. Yeah, it had to be like 2016, 2017, around that time.
Yeah, they were good. They were good those years. They made the wild card the year after the 2015. So yeah, you caught them in when they were in their good years. Not well, they're going to be good this year because they got Lindor. So
I wouldn't know, man. I really genuinely don't watch baseball like that. The only sport I really lock into, vibe with is basketball. And just growing up, my dad, he played Big Five college ball, with Iowa State, and was playing with Magic Johnson and Isaiah Thomas. So like a big part of our connection and just relationship is watching games, and talking about the players and stuff like that. So. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's like that's my real connection to the sports world.
Yeah, as long as you support the Knicks, you're on my good side. Yeah, that's good.
Hey man, all day.
Knicks tape.
Knicks
tape, of course. What's your favorite song that you made throughout your career so far?
Whoa, my favorite song. I think one of my favorite songs that I've been a part of, I should say, that I co-produced on was Honeymoon Avenue with Ariana. We had like a 12-piece orchestra. It's just we were a part of the process from the beginning to the mix, and it was just so cool having that that process of just hearing all those people play at the same time, to stuff you produced. It was definitely a really big moment for me. And I was a lot younger at the time, but just really like looking back at it all, it was definitely a very impactful moment. And it's probably one of my favorite records I've been a part of.
And there you heard it. Favorite Andre moment from Victorious. What is it?
My Andre moment from Victorious, I would have to say my favorite moment from Victorious period is this episode called Stuck in an RV. Mm-hmm. I just thought it was so funny. It was probably one of the only episodes I would watch over and over because I just thought it was really, really dope how we all came together. And I remember that being a challenging script for everybody in the cast. And it was one of those, I think one of the first and only scripts that had us in the same room all throughout the entire episode, which just left so much room for collaboration. And I think it was definitely one of those episodes that just showed that we could kind of make it work on a network.
Is there anything else that you love to let my audience know here at St. John's University, Queens? Because this is your home. Even though you're from Brooklyn, New York's your home.
New York's my home, man. New York's my home. And I just want to tell y'all, I'm really praying that everything, gets back to normal soon, so I can do some shows out there for y'all, and so that we can all just get together and just have that exchange of a live performance. That's like a really big part of what I do, and I'm just really, really, really looking forward to when that all comes back, because I think coming home to New York and doing some more shows is definitely going to be a big thing for me.
When do you think you're dropping the next project? I think your fans are waiting. If you don't have to give an exact date, of course, but if there's a time period
an exact date, but I'm definitely looking to drop something this year, and there's so much happening right now. Yeah. I'm definitely making sure it's planned out properly because it's gonna be a whirlwind of stuff. So I'm excited.
Yeah, and everyone's gonna be looking forward. When you do drop the project, you would love to have you back on the show, man.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely pop back on with you, and we can just chop it up and play some of the records and yeah, go through the motions.
Yeah, you know, I got your records in the rotation up here too from Genesis. I got them in there. So just send them. You know what I mean? If you want to send them to me, or I'll just buy them. I don't really care. I'll buy them and put them in the rotation.
No, but I'm just all about building a real relationship, man. So I would love to send you some records and just to get your ear on it. I know you like to
Yeah. Well, if you could see behind me, I only have black and white '90s hip hop and R&B photos. So
there we go. Yeah, you got it, man. You a real fan. That's what's up.
yeah, you're not gonna see any Little Yachty on my wall.
No. You said no Lil Yachty, huh? Okay, all right.
Oh man, I mean, yeah, I'd love to have you back on. Even get you a performance up here at St. John's when everything is back to normal. Because St. John's, we love our spring concerts and stuff, and that's the one thing COVID screwed up. But once everything gets back out in the open, I'm the main guy up here at St. John's. So
let's make it happen, man. Let's set it up.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm gonna get you back on the gram. I'll stay in touch and everything. I appreciate you coming on the show. It was good, man.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I really appreciate it. We definitely covered a lot of subjects.
We did. Trust me, it's gonna be dropping too. I'll shout you out once we drop it. And it was a live show. That's the one thing that everyone does now. Our podcast. I'm one of those old heads like Mike Francesa. You got to keep this live, man.
Yeah, it's live. It's all about the live vibes.
It's all about the live. It's all about the live vibes, 100%, man. And make sure you go follow Leon Thomas on Instagram and Twitter at Leon Thomas.
Man, follow me. It's lit.
Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter too. The Real Max, TheRealMax. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Sports and Hip Hop with DJ Mad Max. Tune in to WSJU Radio, St. John's University, and you know what it is, the one and only Leon Thomas, man. So many things ahead. We'll be looking forward to the journey here and looking forward to having you back on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, man. I really appreciate it. You have a good one, my brother.
You too, man. Enjoy the rest of your night.
All right, will do.
Yeah, peace.